Hi, I'm John Tickles, and welcome to Remote RPGs. You know what I'm tired of? Vampires. They suck, pun intended, thanks to Twilight, True Blood, and all that garbage. You know what I'm not tired of? Fun video games. Therefore, I'm only kinda tired about today's Super Nintendo RPG, a rough little gem called The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang. Released by Naxat Soft in North America 1994, The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang is a quirky little action RPG for the Super Nintendo, and was completely overlooked. This was likely because the game was a sequel to a Japanese-only TurboGrafx title, Makai Prince Dorobochan. And also, who in 1994 North America, or hell even now, has heard of Naxat Soft? Not this guy. Maybe that guy. Him for sure, but he's the minority. Finally, that box art. What the f***? I only found out about this game after looking up a list of RPGs for the system. And what you get here is a really little fun RPG. It does have a lot of nagging little issues, and I would have trouble calling it a great game you have to play, but if the game and its flaws seem like your cup of tea, then you should check it out. The game follows the story of Spike. Oh my god, that would be a kick-ass RPG. No, Spike the vampire, and not the shitty glowing vampires. This dude has a top hat. Layton friggin' approves. The game follows the adventures of the titular character, who is set to battle with the evil zombie general Von Hessler, who attempts to invade his parents' and his friend Camelia's kingdoms. That's the story. That is it. I honestly can't really describe anymore. Glorious! It's a masterpiece! It makes Final Fantasy VII and Xenogears look like shit! The story in the game is not the point at all. It only serves as an excuse to get from one location to another. There really wasn't anything memorable about the plot of this twisted tale. It's kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. You know, that's the best way to describe everything, actually. The story is one-dimensional, the characters are very fun and simple, and it all requires less brain power than toasting toast. The only thing worth mentioning about the story is the dialogue. I had a hard time distinguishing when the game was trying to be serious, trying to be corny, or something in between. Some of these lines are just friggin' hilarious. In a way, this game's quirky style reminds me of Earthbound, especially for how the writing is just so fresh compared to other titles on the system. That, and just the overall silliness, even kind of the graphical style, the enemies, the stuff that happens. If you like the cheesy anime jokes and stupid lines, then this game will make you a happy camper. No matter what, you can't deny the fact that this game has some serious charm, is very unique, and stands out from most RPGs of the time. Let's get right into the meat of the gameplay. The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang takes you through different worlds on your quest to destroy evil. This and that creepy thing. Oh, that thing saves your game. Well, this is awkward. The gameplay is very Zelda-esque, with a top-down perspective, except your character is pretty big. He's got to lay off the pixels. You can jump around, you collect money, tomatoes for health, and more. You have to explore and navigate your way across many dungeons, towns, and beat the crap out of adorable enemies. Enemy health is represented by onions because why the hell not? You have two weapons in your quest. You're a vampire, so logically you only have two attacks, and that's to spin around and to throw your top hat like a boomerang. Professor Layton needs to solve the puzzle of orgasming in his pants. The first attack is your main move, which is tough because you have to get pretty close to your enemies to get stuff to work with this range. You can increase your range by mashing the attack button, but you'll get dizzy for a second as adorableness ensues. Your other attack is to throw your hat in all 8 directions and have it come back to you, which is useful for hitting far off enemies, or attacking without getting close. My complaint here though is the lack of variety. You only have 2 main attacks in this action game, and there's nothing really mid-range to attack with, which just seems kind of strange, and makes things pretty tough. Really, your best option is to jump spin kamikaze into baddies, because charging up the hat immobilizes you, and the big spin rarely seems to work for me. The overall hit detection didn't feel particularly clean either. Your other options for attacking though are your cards, which you can find across the land or in shops. You can use them to attack, heal, become invisible, take you back to town, and more. Of course, you get equipment to choose between, even though there's not that much of it, and you even get allies to fight with you sometimes, but the AI is pretty brutal, so you might as well be alone. There is one other big issue, and that's the difficulty. This game is pretty friggin' tough for the wrong reasons. In the American version, they upped the defense of the enemies and no longer heal Spike upon a level up. You see, Spike levels up like a normal action RPG, where the more enemies you kill, the stronger you get, obviously. However, the bosses in this game are a pain in the ass. That first boss gave me absolute fits. Their life bar is just really huge, and Spike doesn't take off much damage. It's really old school SNES, like you have to track down patterns to win, but sometimes even that might not be enough. Sometimes you have to just find a good vantage point to attack from, but it can be really frustrating, especially if you're not using an emulator. At some points, you'll just have to plain power level. Except, this game is lucky in that combat is strangely fun. You know what? The game moves pretty fast, and it's just plain fun to kill things. So thankfully, that made power leveling much more tolerable. Still, they could have balanced out the game a lot better. There is one more noticeable issue with the game, and that's the length. There are less than half a dozen worlds to see, and I don't think it would take many people too long to beat this title. Of course, the game supplements this with the aforementioned difficulty, and the inclusion of a maze level before the end. Dicks. However, short length could also be considered a plus. It's just embarrassing when developers hide the length of a game by making it difficult, like Karate Kid for the NES. The graphics in the game are one of its best qualities, I'd say. Oh my god, dude, these graphics stand out. Everything is vibrant, colorful, and just fun to look at. There's a lot of neat little details, and although there's not too much to see in the overall game, what they did put in is very appealing to the eye. Nothing groundbreaking, but the character designs, the little anime cutscenes, and the character models are all friggin' adorable or cool. This is definitely a game that visually sticks with you, and that's what I love about it. The music is a little less impressive. I couldn't remember one song aside from the boss music because I heard it so many damn times as I got Chris Browned by all of these bastards. But I remember the music wasn't bad, at least. It was okay. So, no harm, but no bonus points either. In conclusion, The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang is definitely a flawed title, but certainly not one that should be swept under the SNES rug. The story and characters are extremely simple, but charming. The gameplay is pretty bumpy, but still enjoyable. The graphics are kick-ass, and the music's not bad. I recommend this to action RPG fans, Zelda fans, or people just looking for a twisted SNES game. And you can find it on eBay for 40 plus bucks, but forget that noise, just emulate it. Get to play my video games for free! I had a surprising amount of fun with this game, though I'll probably never replay it. Or tell my probation officer about it. He doesn't care anyway. He just asked me to stop breaching bail conditions or something like that. I should throw a top hat at him. Anyway, I'm John Tickles, and I look forward to our next random encounter. Get to play my video games for free!